Overpaying for anything sucks, especially socks, so why pay $45 for a single pair of grip socks when you can spend less than half? Pure Grip Socks Pro feature our best materials for optimal fit, moisture wicking, and performance at a fair price, just $16.99 a pair at puregripsocks.com.
Over the years of reviewing football boots, I've had quite a few people ask me, what are the perfect football boots? Do they even exist? And I think the definition of the perfect football boot will vary from person to person based on your own preferences. Everybody likes something a little bit different, but based on what I really like at this point in a pair of football boots, these are as close to perfect as I think I've ever seen. And the boots that I'm talking about are these right here, the limited edition, made in Japan, Mizuno Morelia DNA, a football boot that combines the classic Morelia 2 upper and all of its kangaroo leather glory with the Soleplate end stud pattern taken from the more modern speed boot in the form of the Morelia Neo 3 Beta, a football boot that when it does release in the US will retail for roughly around $300. And I already know what a bunch of you guys are thinking. These look like referee boots. What is this guy on about? Like I said, the definition of the perfect football boots will vary a lot from person to person based on your preferences. And for me personally, and for anybody that's really into the highest quality leather football boots possible, this is as close to perfection as you're pretty much going to get. I'm going to talk about why that is in today's video as we go over all the technical details, as well as take a look at how they fit and feel on feet. So if you're interested in learning more, please stick around, watch the entire review. And if you are interested in a pair for yourself, while they're not available in the US at the time of me making this video, that will change in the near future. But for the time being, you can actually pick them up in Europe for about 305 euros. If you're interested in a pair for yourself, you can get them for a little under retail with some SR4U coupon codes by checking out the first link down below. As always, if you guys do end up enjoying the video and perhaps want to see more coverage of the less hyped up brands like Mizuno on the channel, please don't forget to support this video with a like. Also guys, we recently passed 700,000 subscribers, but I want to try and keep that momentum going. I'd love to set a goal of about 750,000 by the end of the year. So for those of you that watch the content, enjoy it, but aren't already subscribed to the channel, it'd mean the world to me if you could hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. Now I realize this video is all about how perfect these football boots are, but I will admit I'm not in love with the colorway. And granted, this has nothing to do with the performance, and I'm happy to wear them despite not being in love with the colorway. But instead of being a true black, they're like this dark gray with a silver sparkle. It looks really nice, but I honestly just would have preferred something a little bit more standard in black. And then you of course have the silver accents in the Mizuno Runbird that have this kind of brushed finish to it, but it's still pretty shiny. Again, I would have much preferred something in white or maybe even in red as an accent, but they've gone for this kind of gray on gray tone, which again, doesn't look bad, but it's not my favorite. Same thing goes for the sole plate. It's kind of like a dark gray that doesn't quite match the upper with the white stud tips. It looks like a pair of Morelias with a cool heel counter. I don't think they're ugly in any way at all, but something maybe slightly more traditional I think would have suited this boot a little bit better. Even a white base colorway would have been amazing. As for the upper, it is taken directly off of the current made in Japan Morelia 2, which means it's as straightforward as it gets. The materials and build quality speak for themselves. The upper is entirely made out of some of the nicest kangaroo leather you are going to find on any football boots, period. It's the right amount of softness, it's the right amount of cushion. The shape is pretty much perfect as far as a classic kangaroo leather football boot is concerned, in that it maintains a certain level of comfort where they're not suffocating your feet, but they're also not so wide and so have so much volume to where they feel sloppy in any way at all. I guess if you're comparing this to a Morelia Neo 3 Beta, this does have a wider overall shape to it, but it still fits exceptionally well because of this nice deep central lacing system with a standalone tongue that is also made out of leather. The only part of this upper that isn't leather is the Mizuno Runbird logo that you have running through the midfoot on both the lateral and medial side, which is actually positioned in such a way to provide some extra structure, making this a much more responsive football boot than I think you would expect it to be. If you're a fan of kangaroo leather football boots, this is pretty much the best of the best in terms of touch, quality, and overall feel. Because the upper is directly taken from the Morelia 2, the heel area is also like a regular Morelia, which I personally find to be more comfortable than the Morelia Neo 3 Beta, which is the comparison that I want to make because this of course takes the sole plate from that football boot. Nonetheless, it's a low cut construction with a little bit of an extended back. The heel is lined in some of the nicest suede material you're going to find on any pair of football boots, just incredibly soft. It flows at the back as well as along the sides of the ankle. It features more padding up top than what you'll find down low, but the shaping is pretty much perfect. The heel lockdown is phenomenal. The material is so soft, it grips your socks really well. It's just a phenomenal heel liner construction. And then the insole, that's fully removable, also taken directly from the Morelia, where you're going to find that it has this soft synthetic suede lining on the surface, of course has your Morelia and Made in Japan branding, and it's made from a single layer of this black foam. Which brings us to the sole plate, which is the Morelia Neo 3 Beta aspect of the Morelia DNA. And I think Mizuno as a brand is really underrated in regards to their sole plates, because I realize they're maybe not the most technical looking and certainly not the fanciest in terms of materials used or constructions, but they almost always have this really nice feel to them. And this being their interpretation of a speed boot sole plate, it's a little bit different from everything else in that it does have a little more flexibility to it, although it does have that kind of energy return snappiness that you kind of expect from a speed boot. And you also get the external heel counter, of course, the spine running through the midfoot, but I think most importantly and most distinctive is a conical stud pattern with 8 studs lining the sides of the forefoot, 1 support stud that's kind of oval shaped in the middle, and then of course your 4 heel studs at the back, which ultimately provide more grip and more aggressive traction than I think you would expect based on the sharpness of these conical studs along the edges, as well as the fact that they're a little bit narrower in profile. Also, something that I love that Mizuno does is they angle the studs slightly outwards, because they understand that when you're running around, you're never really landing perfectly flat, always on a little bit of an angle. So that slight angle to the studs themselves is in the name of, again, giving you that little bit of extra traction that otherwise might not have been there. Do you notice this? Not necessarily, but I think it's a really cool concept. And as far as giving you kind of that traditional feel in terms of that freedom to twist and pivot, but still really aggressive traction with an upper that just feels incredibly traditional, but also really structured and well supported on your feet, it really is a match made in heaven. Which brings us to the weight, and I want to say this much. I'm obviously a big fan of the Mizuno brand, the products they make, and really what they stand for in general. It seems like they really do listen to what their consumers want. But even they are not subject to maybe a little bit of deception when it comes to what they are putting out to the market and what reality actually is. And what I mean by that is you would expect the lightweight upper of the Morelia Neo 3 Beta with its kangaroo leather at the front that's been thinned out, and then the knit and textile-based synthetic that you have running through the midfoot to be a lot lighter than the upper here of the Morelia 2 on this DNA model. Given that these have the exact same sole plate, their true speed boot offering you would expect to at least be a little bit lighter, but we'll let the scale do the talking. Keep in mind these are both the same size 9.5 US. We'll start off with the Morelia Neo 3 Beta, and you can see that they weigh in at 7.45 ounces, the equivalent of 211 grams. If we change the scale back to ounces and we throw on the Morelia DNA, you can see that they weigh in at 7.45 ounces, the equivalent of 211 grams. You don't need to be good at math to figure that one out. On feet, the Morelia DNAs are about as comfortable as it gets. The kangaroo leather upper is incredibly soft and just wraps your foot so nicely with that deep central lacing system. Something that I was a little bit worried about with this football boot was the general shape, because you take the upper of the classic Morelia and then the sole plate from the Neo 3 Beta, which is a much tighter fitting football boot, and you might have something that feels a little bit weird, but I think they did a really good job of maintaining the classic shape of the Morelia here with the underfoot feel of something like a speed boot, which makes this a really unique experience in terms of giving you that kind of speed boot on your toes sensation, but the classic comfort that really is second to none with the Morelia 2. They just feel amazing on feet, especially when paired up with some Pure Grip Socks Pro, which for those that don't know is my own brand of grip socks. This new Pro variation features an upgraded material that is super soft and stretchy, and of course features the grips along the bottom of the foot as well as the back of the heel. They're available now in a wide variety of colors for just $16.99 a pair. If you're interested in trying some out for yourself, the website to visit is puregripsocks.com, which of course will be linked down below. When it comes to width, thanks to that nice deep central lacing system, you have so much adjustability with the width and shape of this football boot. Not only are they remarkably easy to put on and take off because of this, but they really do a good job of adapting to just about any foot type. So whether you have narrow feet or wide feet or something in the middle, this is one of those football boots that's going to work for just about everybody. And then as far as sizing is concerned, while normally the Morelia 2 would run true to size, because this is on the sole plate of the Morelia Neo 3 Beta, which runs just a touch long, these do feel a little bit longer than a classic Morelia 2. I'm still wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US, and I wouldn't really be able to go down half a size, but there is that little bit of extra length that you need to be aware of. I think for most people, going true to size is definitely going to be the way to go. That's what I've personally done. But if you find that your boots already have a little bit of extra room in them, maybe going half a size down might be the better choice. So in conclusion, is the Morelia DNA the perfect football boot? I guess probably not, certainly in the eyes of most people watching this video, but for me personally, as a pair of football boots, that if you told me these are the boots you have to wear for the rest of your life, I would be extremely happy about that. As far as I'm concerned, and based on what I've tried, which is a lot, the Morelia 2 upper made out of kangaroo leather is the best leather upper that money can buy. It fits phenomenally well and it feels incredible on the ball. Combine that with the lighter, slightly more aggressive sole plate and stud pattern taken from the Morelia Neo line, and I think you have a football boot that really does offer the best combination of classic and modern design elements all wrapped up into one in a pair of football boots that feel truly cohesive. What often happens when we get brands trying to make these Frankenstein boots is you end up with elements that feel like they weren't meant to go together. This feels like a product that was meant to exist. And like I said, man, it's as close to perfect as I think I've ever come across. More colorways, please, Mizuno. Anyways, guys, that's it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you're interested in a pair of Morelia DNAs for yourself, first link down below, go ahead and check that out. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to leave them down below in the comment section, and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you as soon as I possibly can. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.